because I don't know how much I can get into it during class and focus on Bob. I'm going to go ahead and explain this a little bit in this video that I'm putting as a reading material. For our reading tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the children's poet Bob RACZKA. He wrote Gaiku in 2010, and then he wrote Lemonade in 2011. He wrote Concrete poem series for children called What's Cement in 2016, so this is his later one. And concrete poetry is just another word for like shape poetry. Here's a good example. Everything in this poem is the corner. So that's an idea of concrete poetry or shape poetry. Well, this is lightning. You could say it takes the shape of lightning. For tomorrow, what I'm going to be looking at is the concept of the box and writing in general and poetry in general as a physical and mental box. Prose often is just box shaped just due to the nature of the page. The problem with poetry is that it's very visual, and so everyone's going to be thinking a lot more about the poem and its box shape. In the case of this Kavanagh book, the shape of a box, so the page as a box. It's a traditional poem, and as you can see, it's more rectangular in the way it goes down, but it's still kind of boxy. You might have a stray line. Stanzas are almost always traditionally box shaped. And this was written in about the 60s or 70s, so even then when they're testing boundaries. Like Wet Cement, RACZKA's book, is more of a rectangle. And John Steinbeck actually called the novel a box in which he put things. Sometimes the box can be mental, and so you're told to think outside the box. And E. E. Cummings did that, where he challenged the traditional structure of a poem and used different punctuation stuff to think outside the box. But still, he had the very vertical lines and the stanzas that you look at it and you know it's a poem because of those boxy shapes. And this is all very important for RACZKA, because he's coming out of this and looking at poetry for a different way. I mean, this is a poem. We still have the box of the page, we still have the rectangular shape, and yet it doesn't look like that. So we're just going to look at how people challenge the box, how they try to think outside the box, and ultimately how they deal with the box, and how RACZKA deals with the idea of the box. When you do shape poetry, such as clock, and it's a circle. First of all, how do we know it's still a poem? Does it still count as a poem? And is it really escaping the box concept? You know, because you still have it on a rectangular page, boxy page, and you're still having to create corners in a certain reading pattern, so you still have the mental limits. If you take Dr. Sprayberry's American Indian class, Lame Deer Seeker Revisions, is that white people have the problem of always being within a box. They're boxed houses, and what he says is more spiritual, essentially, and more healthy is to have a circular shape of the world. If you try to get out of the box and you're not in the box anymore, then are you actually within a poem? Also a bit of a jack-in-the-box in that you can never really escape the fundamental boundaries of what a poem is, because otherwise it might not be a poem.